All right, now we quickly go through amines. Okay, remember that the important thing about amines is you have a carbon bonded to a nitrogen, which has this carbon does not have a double bond or like this. Once it has this, it's an amide. This carbon is just bonded to other carbons or hydrogens and stuff. And then this nitrogen could be bonded to, if it's bonded to two other carbons, this makes it a what? This makes it a tertiary amine, because if you look here, this nitrogen is bonded to three carbons. Okay, if it's bonded to two, like this is something like this, then an H, then this is a secondary. If it's bonded to only one carbon, then it's a primary amine. Okay, so the ways, let's talk about preparation of our amine. When we are talking about preparation of our amine, we have two methods. Number one is the easier one, and it is reduction of the amide. Okay, reduction of amide. And here we are going to use again LiAlH4. We can't use NaBH4 because that guy is very specific. He only likes aldehydes and ketones. So in this case, what are we going to have? Our amide R, the C double bond O bonded to an N. We know what's going to happen, right? And this guy could be bonded to, we don't care what is bonded to. But here is what makes our amide. Now, what happens to this guy? I'm going to add LiAlH4, right? But I should always put it in ether, right? And what am I going to get? The amine. So what is going to happen here is this double bond O just breaks and we have hydrogens there. So what happens? It becomes R bonded to C, then this is now HH, okay? And it's bonded to N, which is still bonded to R prime and R prime prime. That is what happens. The double bond O goes and you will get two hydrogens there. That is what happens when you reduce. Now, that the second way is when you add, the second way is where you add haloalkane. So haloalkane, when you add haloalkane, okay, when you add it to ammonia or a primary amine or a secondary amine, you are going to get an amine again. So if we add ammonia to a haloalkane, we'll get a primary amine. If we add a primary amine to a haloalkane, we'll get a secondary amine. If we add a secondary amine to a haloalkane, we'll get a tertiary amine. Okay, so these are the things which we can add: primary, secondary, and the ammonia itself. So let's see what happens in this reaction. Basically, what you gotta remember about this reaction is that, let's start with our ammonia, NH3, and here he is going to react with something that has a halogen. We'll put an X. Remember, we put an X for that. Then what's going to happen here is we are going to have H3C bonded to, instead of just having the halogen, we now have the ammonia sticking to the halogen. And this ammonia here, right here, is going to have positive charge here, negative on the halogen. Okay? And what's going to happen is we are going to treat it. I'm not explaining too much to avoid taking too much time. We are going to split it using a base. So the first thing that happens is this ammonia goes to attach to the halogen. Then we are going to split it using a base, okay, like sodium hydroxide. And what's going to happen is you're going to have H3C bonded to NH2. You're going to have your primary amine. So this one hydrogen goes, okay, and the group 7 will go, okay. So what's going to end up happening is we will get water and we will get NaX, okay. The sodium now will react with the group 7, and that's what happens, okay. We'll get water and NaH, and remember that this, where you add your NH3X, you just remain with NH2. Now in the second type of this same reaction, we are now using a primary amine, which is one we have made there. So instead of saying CH3, I'll just put an R. So this is an R bonded to an NH2, okay? It is an R bonded to an NH2. Maybe we'll write it as just RNH2, okay? What are we going to do? We are going to add another haloalkane. Haloalkane is sometimes called alkyl halide, where you have an alkane with a group 7, like here. So we add again another alkane with a group 7. Let's put it. It's going to be here R for this CH3, then we show that it's bonded to an X, which is a group 7, right? What's going to happen in the first step is they just stick to each other, right? By now we know. So in this case, we are just going to write it as R2 because this R means this R. And then we would have it as NH2 then X. Okay. And what's going to happen is we have this nitrogen being the positive guy and the group 7 being your negative. Then we treat it with a base, NaOH. Then we know what's going to happen. Okay. What's going to happen now is we get a secondary amine, which is going to be R2 then NH instead of NH2. Okay. When it was NH2, it was a primary. This time it's going to be a secondary. And what are the other things which you get? The same things plus H2O, the water. Okay. Plus H2O and then plus, what was our thing? Na. So it'll be plus NaX. Okay. Plus NaX. Then the third one now, what happens in the third one? You now have this secondary amine, okay, NH, and then you react it with another group 7. What is going to happen now is you're going to have R3, then NH, and then X. This is the positive, this is the negative, which we treat with NaOH. And we are going to get R3N. Okay, the H is gone. R3N and then plus H2O and then plus NaX. This is now our tertiary amine and we are done. This is what happens in the preparation of amines and you have all the things and you're done. Okay, these are the two methods of preparation. We'll see the reactions in the next video. Bye for now.